Hi guys, welcome back to my channel Lush Gardener. So around approximately 5 months back, I had done a stem cutting of the variegated jade plant. If you haven't seen that video, I will put all the video links as well as the update links in the description below. You can check it out. So 5 months ago, I had basically done the first cutting of this jade plant, and this one was the first one. After a month, I had done a few more cuttings, and this clip that you're seeing on the screen was shot 3 months back, wherein the cuttings had already rooted, and this was the original stem in the pot. I had not taken it out from the pot, and it was already having a lot of growth. This was 3 months back, and today while I was shifting all the things, I was surprised to see how well all of the jade plants are doing. But you might happen to see that two of the pots have really intense color on them. The reason behind that is both of these pots were exposed to morning direct sunlight for 5 to 6 hours after acclimating it. Apart from that, both of these pots do not get a lot of watering. In fact, all the three pots do not get a good amount of watering. And because these were exposed to morning direct sunlight, they happen to get stressed. One is less watering and more sunlight. So basically, because of this process, the jade plant was getting stressed. So you can see the colors are showing up really well. Now what happened to this pot, the one on your left hand side, is you can see the jade does not have a lot of color. The reason behind that is this pot was kept in indirect bright light. Now the reason why I kept this pot in indirect bright light was because of the Haworthia limifolia. I had done a pup separation and I kept the pup in this pot for it to air root. But I completely neglected it, and as you can see right now, the pup has become very stable in the soil because the roots are anchored into the soil. That's the reason why I placed it in indirect bright light. Same thing goes with this Graptovaria Marpin as well. You can see the colors are missing because it was an indirect bright light. Even the Graptovaria Marpin was also a pup that I had placed in this, but even that has got anchored into the soil. Now guys, this is a very good example to show you over here. This is the reason why I suggest you, whenever you're making an arrangement, ensure that you put your succulents according to the light requirement. Now imagine if you had made the same arrangement with Haworthia and you had kept it in indirect bright light. You can see both the other succulents that prefer morning direct sunlight for 5 to 6 hours are not doing quite well, or I would say they're doing quite well, but they do not have those really striking colors. And the Graptovaria Marpin was quite pushed at the corner. That's why even that indirect bright light was not enough for it, so it started to stretch. Ideally, the Graptovaria Marpin will do quite well in indirect bright light. It won't stretch, but the colors will not be visible. The only reason over here is because this pot was quite pushed at the back, so the indirect bright light was not sufficient for the Marpin, due to which the Marpin started to stretch. This is the reason why you have to be extremely careful when you tend to make your arrangements. You have to ensure that you're putting the succulents according to the correct light requirements. Over here, as you can see, the Haworthia is doing fantastic because it's kept in indirect bright light. But if it was the other way around, if I would have put it in direct sunlight, then the jade and the Marpin would have been looking really great, but the Haworthia would have had issues. So always ensure that you're choosing the right succulents. Never put your Haworthias with succulents that are brightly colored. However, the other two jade plants that are kept in separate pots are looking fantastic with a good amount of stress colors. Now coming back to the mother stem, which was still present in the pot. When we had done the cutting, I had left the mother stem in the same pot. You can see the pot is in a very bad condition. I haven't removed it out, and I had completely forgotten about it. You can see the pup sizes have increased, but there is a lot of dehydration. Even the Crassula muscosa is also very dehydrated. I will be doing a watering. So you can see the wrinkles on the jade leaves. Though there has been a very good growth, I will put the comparison image on the screen and you will be able to see how much of difference there has been, but it is completely dehydrated. Now guys, another important thing that I wanted to share, you can see this hasn't been watered for a really long time, and at this point of time, if I'm going to do a top watering, the water is going to just flow off because the soil at this point of time has become hydrophobic. So if I'm going to water it on the top layer of the soil, it will not reach into the soil, but it will fall out of the pot without even wetting the soil. And because of this, the water will not reach to the stem and the jade plant will still stay dehydrated. So the best option what you can do in this case is do a bottom watering. Now guys, I want to repot this succulent into another pot because you can see the condition of the pot is in a very bad state, but I cannot do a repotting right now because the succulent is very dehydrated. This is something very important. You need to note it down. Whenever you are doing a repotting, if you feel that the succulent is dehydrated, first go ahead and hydrate the succulent. Wait for a couple of days for the soil to completely dry and then do a repotting. Do not do the repotting of a succulent that is already dehydrated, because remember, when we tend to pot it in the next soil mix or in the next pot, we again have to wait for some days for the succulent to get adjusted in the new soil mix. So that's why always hydrate your succulent before you're doing your repotting. This goes same for your stem cutting, leaf propagation. If your succulent is dehydrated, always hydrate your succulent and then go ahead and do either a stem cutting or separating of the offsets or doing a leaf propagation. And in this case, doing a repotting also, we have to first hydrate the succulent. So now guys, this is going to take a couple of minutes. You can see the upper layer of soil is already starting to turn dark. So I'm just going to do a quick time lapse so you can see it, how quickly the soil is going to turn darker in color. So now as you can see, we are done with the bottom watering. All of the soil has turned darker in color, which indicates that the soil is wet. I'm just going to keep it aside. Now, as I said, I will not repot it until and unless I don't see that the leaves are completely plump. Now this is not any kind of bug. It is basically some paint that has got sprinkled on the jade leaves. Ideally, the jades also tend to get these white spots, which are the mineral deposits, which can be easily cleaned with your finger. Now another important thing to notice, you can see when the leaves are dehydrated, they will be very rubbery. They won't be very firm. As you can see, this one is very firm because it has a good amount of water. It's not dehydrated yet. Even though I have not watered it from a really long time, they are still very plump. So this is one way you can also check if the plant is dehydrated or not. So as of now, I will not be exposing the left pot in direct sunlight because the hawartia is still present in it. Once I take out the hawartia, then I will have to again follow the same process of acclimating it. I'll have to do a slow introduction because if I'm going to expose the left pot to direct sunlight in one go, the jade will get burnt. The Graptovaria marpin will also get burnt. So I have to do a very slow introduction. So guys, that's all about it. I hope that this video was helpful to you. If it was, please hit the like button. If you're new to my channel, please consider subscribing to it. Until then, take care, stay safe and keep propagating.